Network Entertainment.
This is brought to you by Meralco.
Hello, students and junior professionals of PR and communications. Welcome to the Pioneer PRSP YouthCon in a podcast. This is Breaking Down the Buzz, and I am your host, Mark Barlade, Managing Director of Stratworks. We are a 25-year-old IMC, Integrated Marketing Communications Agency that specializes in public relations. We are the proud storytelling partners of some of the top local category leading brands and multinationals as well. We are all part of history today because the PRSP YouthCon in a podcast is the first of its kind in the local communications industry. Breaking Down the Buzz is in partnership with a pod network. This collaboration really shows how professionals from various companies and interests in communications can come together to create and put together innovative ideas and come up with ways to help younger professionals break into the industry. By using platforms like podcasts, the PRSP and the Pod Network delivers learnings to a wider audience. Breaking Down the Buzz is a 12-part podcast series that tackles a different topic each time. The topics are designed to be relevant to students and younger practitioners of PR and communications. Our discussions are current and fresh. We'll keep it current and fresh, right, guys? And the talk points are direct and easy to digest. We'll have very useful situations and examples for students and young professionals who are beginning to work in the PR industry. In short, they're going to be suitable for younger listeners and would be great for practitioners of all ages as well because of all the dish that we're going to share. So without further ado, let's get started. Today, our topic is about what editors look for in the stories that PR practitioners give them. Our featured guests really know about writing and editing and everything that goes into every story that comes out, right? So joining us are freelance writer and editor, the very prolific contributor and writer, Ms. Maan Pamaran. Should I clap, yeah?
Hello.
Hello, Maan. And the digital content manager of Business Mirror, also a very avid pop culture enthusiast and expert, Mr. Edwin Salian.
I don't know about being an expert. I guess I just have. I'm just a guy who has too much time on my hands
and love for what you do and cover, right?
Yes, thank you.
So let's try to get to know each other first, so our viewers also can pick up a few things. Tell us about yourselves, maybe how long you've been in the industry, what beats have you covered or do you cover, or your interests too.
Okay, since you introduced me first,
Yes.
I'm going to start off. I've been writing professionally for the past 25 years. And of those 25 years, I've been freelance for 17. And my work has appeared in most of the major publications, national and even local publications. I also have corporate clients whom I provide services for, like press releases, websites, and social media posting. So I full spectrum, raquetera, in other words.
Like I said, very prolific. Google her name, her byline will be associated with probably every major publication out there, which speaks well of how she writes and of her relationships too, right, with these publications. Sir Edwin, what about you?
I will not say how long I've been in the industry, but let's just say that I've actually started I've actually started journalism in school. When I was in high school, I wrote for the school publication, and then in college, I also wrote for the school publication. And then, while still in college, I started to contribute to Jingle Music magazine. So that was the early 80s, and I was 18. So I guess you can do the math. as to how long I've been in the industry.
If we can, our audience is probably a bunch of communicators who are in communications because they can't do math. You're lucky there.
Yes. But I only started writing for major news organization in 1992 for the Manila Chronicle, for the now defunct Manila Chronicle. Since then, I've had stints with other publications, just about every major news organization you can think of here in the Philippines,
Right.
and maybe some overseas. And for the last 5 years, I've been with Business Mirror, where in addition to being the digital content manager, I also head our social media team, and I edit 2 sections: Soundstrip, the music section, and recently tourism, which involves a lot of travel. Yeah.
Wow. So between
Let us not.
okay, yes,
Let
yes.
us move on from computing.
Move on from computing and time and age. But
Totoo yan.
I just so I'm actually in very good company today. I mean, as a storyteller myself,
Yes.
there's a lot I can still learn from you guys. Although I have been in PR also for 24 years now.
Laglagan na ba?
Laglagan. It's okay. I mean,
Wow. You're very good in math.
We're no.
I can admit it. It's fun. We have to tell the truth.
Yes, yes.
But I was also in television. I started as a production assistant and then reporter for a television show
Wow.
in the late 90s. And then I parlayed that into a job as a producer for a sports show. I did motoring, and so I kind of went around the different beats also before I transitioned to a career in public relations in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So I think we kind of circled around each other's careers somewhat,
Yeah.
right?
The two of us are contemporaries.
Right. Don't leave Sir Ed.
And you and me,
Yes,
Mark,
yes.
and you and me, Mark, we've crossed each other's paths
Yes.
numerous times.
Yes. Especially doing what we do now. I'm a public relations guy. You guys are editors, writers. You are gatekeepers of basically the stories that we give you. Having been editors, writers in different capacities in your different publications, you've been on the receiving end of probably thousands of story pitches and press releases. Can you share with us what goes on into the decision making? What do you look for in the stories that publicists and PR people give you?
Sir Edwin, like in a day, we receive so many emails and
Yes, dozens.
messages in a day. That's in a day. And of course, you can't accommodate everyone.
Yeah.
You have to choose which ones would fit your readership, your page.
Yes.
Di ba, Sir Ed? As much as we would like to accommodate everyone, there are some that, make the cut and some don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sir Ed, what about you? What makes you choose?
Sa akin kasi the first thing that I look for is how newsworthy is a particular press release coming from the PR pitches. Parang pag inisnab ko ba to, hindi ko ginamit, gagamitin ng ibang publications.
That's one, yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to be aware of what the competition is doing. So if my instinct tells me that this is going to be picked up by the other dailies, then by all means it's a no-brainer. I have to use it myself. Ayun. And then of course we tend to take it for granted. Pero grammar is a very important factor, di ba? The PR people who pitches us the stories, the press releases, need to make our jobs easier.
Yes.
Yes, so yung mahirap i-edit, nakaano muna yun, ano bang term natin? The old school term would be refer to drawer.
I learned a trick. Trick when I was I don't know if I should say this. When I was starting out, and like you said, Maan, you guys receive so many stories and press releases. So I would go to the editors, I would visit them, and I would see the stacks and stacks of press releases printed. a lot of the young people might be shocked.
Yes.
Yes,
Wala pa
yes.
pong
Stacks and
internet
stacks.
nung araw.
Wala
The-
pa, oo.
Back in the days, before internet, even before the floppy disks, we gave editors printouts, right? So, and in a day, hundreds or maybe thousands of stories that they would get. You wouldn't even be able to see the editor behind the stacks.
Yes, oo.
So one time, I went to one of the publications. I saw this editor sorting and throwing away press releases. So she was having a hard time with it because there was a lot. So I thought I'd come back next week. I gave her a container. Let's just say it's a container to help her sort out her press releases that she would
Right.
get rid of. I said on the condition that she would never put my press releases in there. She hasn't forgotten me since. But let's go back to what you said first. Newsworthiness. I think that's important. It's important for young people to know the hallmarks of newsworthiness.
Yes.
What makes a story newsworthy? Kasi, I mean, we are, if you're in the storytelling profession, you think you have an interesting story to tell. We're all going to believe that. My clients even, diba? Oh, this is an important story. But is it really? To the editor, what are the hallmarks of newsworthiness?
Actually, marami. I can think of like,
Yeah.
say, if it's a new technology,
Yeah, something new. Yes.
a new product that would, a new consumer product that people would find compelling or interesting enough. And sometimes kasi because my background is mostly entertainment and lifestyle, if it involves certain celebrities as brand ambassadors, yun ang mga matatawag na, again, no-brainers na pwedeng gamitin. And unlike before nga, 'di ba, during the pre-internet era, ang problema ng editors namin is the limitations of our pages. Oo.
Yes.
Oo, 'di ba? Kung ano lang pwede namin pagkasyahin.
Yeah.
So hindi talaga nagagamit lahat. Oo. Although ngayon, because almost all news organizations have online components,
Right. How's that change?
mas flexible na.
Yeah.
We can use more stories, more releases, and also another important thing na sometimes PRs take for granted is that the internet and also still print media, they're visual mediums eh. So
Still,
it
yes.
has to be accompanied by very good photos. Hindi lang photos like ngayon, sometimes also videos.
Yes.
Yun.
Yeah, I think it's important for storytellers to remember the story isn't just the text. The story isn't just what you read.
Yes.
A photo or a video can very well tell the story too, right? So
And
yeah.
also they need to take note, no, especially the PR writers of today, na people have especially the surfers, the netizens, they have short attention spans. So releases or articles that are too long,
Yes.
siguro mga after ilang paragraphs lang titigil na yung magbabasa eh. So we tend to gravitate as editors towards the more short but sweet stories, press releases na pwede namin gamitin.
Yeah, more to the point.
Concise.
Concise. Yes. So you, Sir Edwin, you talked about novelty, which is what's new.
Yes.
And if it's new, will it have impact on people's lives?
Yes.
So impact is
number one.
another one. You also talked about prominence.
Yes.
If it features prominent people, companies, famous celebrities, that's prominence. That's another hallmark of newsworthiness.
Yes.
What about relevance? Is that important too?
Relevance is very
Yeah.
important. Like I'll give you an example. The recent release of the iPhone 15.
Right.
Ayun. So, marami nag-aagawan na Apple resellers na nagkanya-kanyang midnight launch. So, some of them, depende sa media na inbid nila, have had extensive coverage din. So, yun. That's it.
Right. What about and this is why I'm glad I'm talking to very versatile writers here between you and Sir Edwin. You've been around the different beats. You've been able to write different kinds of stories, but also mostly you concentrate on features, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what about another hallmark of newsworthiness? Possibly drama. Is that a hallmark of newsworthiness?
Well, if you're a corporate client, if you're a client,
Yeah.
you would want to veer away from drama, though.
Yes.
Right? You want to keep your brand reputation as clean as possible. So, huwag kang papatol.
Yes, yes. That's important,
Yeah.
no? That's an important point that you brought up. In the context of all the storytelling we tell, this is still public relations kasi it's still putting your best foot forward.
Right.
So, yes, all that's good that you're doing that people need to know about. But still, in very concise, direct terms.
Yes.
Right? So I have a question. Sir Edwin brought up that yes, you have more leeway and flexibility now because of online, but is there a quota? Is there a number of stories that your online publication should be able to come out with?
Actually, sa online, wala eh.
Wala.
We need to be on call 24/7 because the news never sleeps for starters. Oo. And also, hindi lang naman yung mga companies and product ang nag-hire ng PR agencies. There are certain personalities,
Yes.
and yun nga, establishments na nagkaroon ng mga negative issues, nireklamo ng consumers. They hire PR agencies para to handle their crisis.
Right.
And they send kagad a press release na statement to refute the
Right.
yung issues na lumabas sa kanila and all that. O yun.
Oh, I love that we're talking about this because at this day and age of misinformation, how important is it also that the stories that PR people give you is truthful and accurate? This is very handy. This is very, yeah, we should be able to talk about this.
Yes,
as
that's
communicators.
important,
Yes.
but that's also very subjective. And minsan kasi kahit na anong effort ng gawin ng PR to save their clients, save talaga yung word, no? Pag ang response ng public hindi pa rin favorable sa kanila, it's all for naught. Di ba? Parang most people naman are smart to read through
see
to read
through.
between the lines,
Yeah.
di ba? To see na ano lang yan. They're trying to save face and all that. O, yan ang press release nila. They use the term press release very casually na, di ba?
Yeah. I think that's also another thing we need to contend with as practitioners of public relations.
Yes.
Ako personally, I have a pet peeve and I don't mind sharing this
Yes.
with younger practitioners. Do not conflate or confuse PR with press releases. If you mean
diba?
press releases, just say press release or story. PR is public relations. It's the broader scope of what we do. If you conflate it with a press release, it kind of minimizes what we do. Public relations is such a much bigger discipline,
Yes.
which related to what you're talking about. When people see through PR,
Yes.
it's a failure of PR to come up with a consistent narrative or reputation that makes whatever identity or reputation a client or its agency is trying to build more consistent, more felt, and more believable. So I think consistency and an alignment between the storytelling and actual reality is also important because editors, I mean, come on, you guys see so much news. You know when it's believable or not, right?
Yeah. Sometimes a press release or a statement is not enough. For some editors or even the general public. They need to hear from the subject of the ones who are having issues with. For example, if it's a politician, di ba? It's not enough time may statement eh. That's why other public relation consultants, they actually present their clients.
Yeah.
Pinapagsalita or or they give access para ma-interview sila. So you can hear directly from the horse's mouth. Oh, yun. So that is actually more favorable.
Yeah.
Oo.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to ask. So you're in favor of because PR agencies are supposed to be kind of the gatekeepers between
Yes.
clients and the media.
Yes.
Does that still really hold true given that it is a much smaller world? Clients can have access to the media, right? And, well, how do you... So Sir Edwin's made his position clear. I mean, maanikaw, should clients have direct access to the media?
If you're a client, you should probably go through your PR company because that's what they're there for. They are there to help protect your reputation. They are there to help ensure that your narrative is concise, concise, clear, factual. That's why they're there. Sometimes if the media goes directly to you, there might be some things that you say that are not consistent with what you're putting out there, and only because it's not because it's false, but only because you weren't able to express yourself the right way. You could say something that could be misconstrued. No, there.
No, that's true.
And also,
Yeah.
in addition to that, and in that regard, the PR consultants, they need also to prepare their clients because 9 out of 10 times, the journalists, the editors, the writers, they will ask
Yeah.
Yes.
if they can interview their clients
Yes.
directly. So they need to prepare. They need to just be ready to present their clients to the media, but also to prepare them on what they're supposed to say.
Or a list of possible questions
A list of
that may
possible.
be asked.
Para walang sisiyan sa bandang huli.
Oo, yeah.
The blindsided.
Right. Oh, that word blindside.
Oh, di ba?
Yeah. That is, I love this discussion. I think yes, and also because hey, I mean, as people who work for brands with brands, I think sometimes we get too caught up in our own PR, diba? Sometimes we believe our own PR. You might need an agency perspective to kind of tell you na it might not be how it can be perceived. It can be perceived in a different way.
Yes.
Or these are the questions this doing something might raise, the perceptions it might raise, no? And these are part of the questions that the media will ask. So it's important talaga to prepare. Basically, this brings to light how PR is a really much more deliberate and orchestrated process. You know,
Parang-
storytelling.
It's not just press releases.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. It's not just press
But
releases.
this is not enough. Pwede ko ba interviewin ng kliyente mo? Ayun, ganun.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten... What do you do if they say no? You can't. For some reason, you can't.
Well,
What do you do?
if we can't, then well, we can't. Basta provided, wag na namin malaman na, ba't ka nagpa-interview sa kabila?
Oh,
Ako
that.
una nag-request sa'yo, di ba?
Yeah.
Later, malalaman mong gano'n eh.
You'll be out scoop.
Oo. Pinipili nyo pala kung kanina kayo nagpapa-interview, di ba?
Yeah.
Yun, gano'n.
Now we're delving into the relationship aspect of it.
Yun,
No? Like,
diba?
I'm a firm believer in PR kasi it's good stories, yes.
Yes,
And
oo.
then there's goodwill, right?
Oo.
So,
Kasi I'm sure,
Yeah.
Mark, in
Sure.
your experience,
Yes, sir.
di ba there are times na you get a lot of requests per interviews,
Yes.
but you really have to choose kung sino lang talaga ang pwede. So it's also a dilemma in your part.
yeah.
Yun.
Well, in my case, there's always a way to make things work. Eh.
Oh,
We
diba?
can
Yun
share
yan.
the time.
Oh, yan, diba?
Kasi, I mean, you try to make things work. Basically,
yan.
there's a solution for everything where nobody has to feel bad. I think.
Ayan, di ba? Oo.
No? So, but you're right. Also, sometimes it depends on resources. Depends on, there are so many factors. But that's also why you have an agency is to make sure things are solved over in case things don't really
To
work out.
manage things for you.
Yes. Oh, let's talk about things that need to be managed. What about? Do you guys have pet peeves when you get press releases or stories? Feel free to be as specific but safe as possible.
For the love of crud, you don't have to put the TM sign or the copyright sign. You don't have to capitalize the name of your client in your press release because it gives us extra work to do. We have to delete that. Diba?
Oo nga.
I don't know, bakit yung ibang PR companies all caps. And every sentence yung kanilang client. it gives us extra work.
Yeah, it takes time to have to revise all of those things. Whereas, lalabas na lang eh. It should just, if it's well written
Yeah.
and the editor likes it, they'll just come out there, right? Sir Edwin, ikaw po.
Ako, I posted about this before.
Yes.
I have a particular problem with the use of the word today.
Today.
Launched today. Hindi ba? Parang pinipressure ka na kailangan ilabas mo yung press release na araw na to, di ba? Today. Pwede naman lang sabihin na was launched Tuesday and then the date and all that.
Yeah.
Which I changed pag ginagamit ko. Kasi some PRs naman, hindi naman ganun ka-urgent, pero nilalagyan lang ganun. Nang lalagyan na nung today.
Oo. Sometimes we tell them to just use recently because
Recently is the best.
You can
The best
never still
option.
guarantee when it's going to come
Right.
out.
Hindi lang yun. Pag nilabas mo siya today, napapani siya tomorrow eh.
Exactly. Oo.
So I don't see the point why kailangan na ilagay yun today. Yeah.
So, you know what you guys are saying is details matter.
Yeah.
Details matter,
They
you
matter a
guys.
lot, yeah.
Nuances.
And also another
Small
thing, Mark, no?
things. Yes.
Me and Man, we sometimes get press releases for product launches or branch openings and all that stuff. Pero ang nakakainis, yung main photo na gusto na ipakita, yung ribbon cutting.
Kasama si Mayor.
Yung mukha ng officer, may kasamang politician. Parang it works for them. I mean, happy sila.
Yeah.
Pero yung target audience nila, hindi naman interesado doon. Di ba? Di ba, like if you're promoting a new food product, then dapat ang main photo mo, yung pagkain.
Right. Or at least the facade of the restaurant.
O the facade of the restaurant if you're promoting di ba? Hindi yung
mukha niya.
hindi yung mga tao.
The VIPs.
Unless medyo yung owner is a famous celebrity himself or herself. Pero be that as it may, you're still promoting the establishment eh.
Right.
Oo, and the product. So dapat yung pa rin ang main focus ng ng mga magbabasa nun.
Yeah, so a really deliberate alignment between the story and the visual support.
Yes.
No? Well,
Yes.
if you're trying to promote this, then that's what you put there. Make sure you have a nice appetizing photo of the food.
Yes, oo. Pero kasi yung iba ang tendency nila is they're actually promoting themselves more than their products.
That's true.
Yun ang nagiging problema. And then sometimes may mga press releases naman na although ang focus is the company, parang it becomes an executive profile na pag binabasa mo na. It becomes about a person na.
Right.
Yun. So parang ayoko yatang gamitin to. Yun, ganon. Yun.
Unless that's how it was pitched to you, but
Yun,
there's kind of a...
Oo. Unless that's how it was pitched. Pero sometimes medyo sneaky.
Oo. Now, speaking of that, what is the best way to pitch a story? So we talked about press releases. These are stories that PR agencies, even corporate affairs departments release to the media. These are seeded, and the media that receive them are free to use them or not, right? And but what about pitches? What about exclusive interviews that normally are bigger, are more impactful because of the size, because of the investment you have in interviewing the resource person? How do you get those big exclusive stories?
Basta direct to the point lang yung pitch nila. Tell us what we need to know. No surprises.
No surprises. Like what kind of surprises? Yung ganon, yung nag-iiba yung storya.
Nag-iiba
midway.
yung yung ang pitch nila is sa unang pagkakakwento nila hindi naman hard sell. Pero pagkabasa mo na nung actual ay in your face masyado. Yung pa isa.
That's another important thing, whether exclusive or a story that that we farm out. The hard, let's talk about that a little, because everybody have a tendency. We all have a tendency to really believe nga in our product. So we kind of talk about that more. Have you come across stories like that? What would you tell an agency to kind of tone it down?
When I was starting out, I used to handle all the press releases for that magazine that I was with. I would edit out. My editor instructed me, edit out the hard sell stuff. Like, instead of, for example, it's a whitening soap. Instead of saying that this soap is going to make your skin super fair, super smooth, you'll be like Snow White. She instructed me, use the words like promises to, because you can't really make claims about those things. So siguro some of the PR companies and the clients, they have to police themselves also against making really outlandish claims that you're the best, you're the whatever. Diba? Nobody likes being sold to, and nobody likes being sold snake oil to. Diba?
Oo, actually totoo yan.
Oh, yeah. That's. I think that's important. This is another important part of this discussion. No, the superlative claims that if you're not deliberate, you tend to make as a storyteller because you believe in it so much. What do you guys tone down those superlatives? Like kunyari, claims like that. You do that, Sir Edwin, ikaw.
Yung for example, yung some companies that will claim or products will claim the number one, the most trusted name. Medyo yan eh. Medyo I have to tone it down.
Yeah. It's not an advertising material eh.
Yes,
Also,
oh.
right?
And yun nga, yung pag yung binablur na yung line between public relations and advertising, which of course our advertising people can will take exception to.
Right. There's also that to contend with.
Oo,
Yes.
di ba? Oo. Parang para lang makatipid na hindi mag-advertise, dinadaan doon sa press release ang kanilang yung ganong efforts.
Yeah. So that's important to younger people and even older practitioners. It's always good to remember a press release, a story, is not an ad, but it is a credible opportunity to tell your story. To,
Yung for example, yung people who companies or products that claim the most trusted name.
What do they do?
I tone it down to a trusted name.
A trusted.
Especially kung halimbawa medyo household name naman sila. They kind of earn that.
Yeah.
Pero wag naman yung the most trusted name.
Is it better than?
Yun na yun. No?
Is it better than? Because this is what I tell guys, people I work with. Flesh it out. If that's your claim,
Oo.
that's what you put in the story. The proof points, bring it to life
If you
in
have
ways that are
data.
believable.
If you have data.
Pero kasi unlike the US where they can do that, where they can where they have ads or even press releases that directly mentions their competitors
Right.
na superiors lang. We don't do that as
Yeah.
much here in the Philippines.
Yes.
So medyo pa-modest tayo pero
Yeah.
although pa-modest na medyo wala sa lugar kasi kiniklaim mo pa rin number one ka.
Right. But that's why I think it's important.
Diba? Ganun.
I think it's important for people to exercise more creativity
Yes.
in the storytelling instead of saying I'm number one.
Oo.
The beauty of PR is you can get other people to tell it for you. Like get testimonials to say that. Get stories from other people that establish that without you having to say it.
Yung number one, I often replace it with the word popular.
Popular,
Okay.
renowned, respect,
Or renowned
mga
respect.
ganon.
Oh.
So, make a note also. The editors will know if you have a thesaurus beside you. It helps, right? I mean, the vocabulary you reveal yourself to it. We talked about advertising earlier, and there is a tactic that kind of is a gray area between a story and an advertising material, which is an advertorial.
Yes.
Do you think this is a good way for brands to communicate or even get around editorial sometimes?
I have no problem with advertorials. Kasi yun naman they're paid articles
Yes.
naman and they actually paid for that particular content. And to be fair, most of the products or the PR agencies who does this, who paid, they know exactly naman what they're trying to sell, what they're trying to promote. That is a part that I cannot second guess them naman, or even most editors cannot second guess them. They know their products well, so we tend to we still do some edits pag yung medyo sobra sa superlatives and all that. Pero for the most part naman, okay lang yan. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Maan, ikaw, you've probably written some advertorials yourself.
I'm on the I'm on the spectrum. I receive the press releases, I write the press releases. So I know what both the editor and client or the agency want. So when it comes to advertorials, I think, or with any material that you want to put out, make sure lang it adds value to your readers. At the end of the day, it still your goal is to still get those eyeballs reading your material. So it's really how it's written. If it's an advertorial, don't go overboard also. Still keep it
Yeah.
interesting. Because it will get published because it's a paid spot. But who's going to read it if it's not written well?
Yes, that's the beauty of it. So, maybe as a start to our recap, why must the stories that public relations practitioners, whether old or young, the stories that we give to the media or pitch to the media, be interesting? Why?
Because it's a way to add value. It's a way of telling your story so that your audience can understand your brand better, patronize your brand, try it out, or get to know you as a person better. So it needs to be written very well. It can't be just it can't be just a lot of empty words, empty promises.
Fluff.
We don't want praise releases.
Oh,
Yun.
yes.
And also because there's a certain newsworthiness to them, man. In all fairness, and there are people who are attracted to this particular types of stories.
Yeah.
And sometimes they go hand in hand naman with our own sections. Lifestyle or tourism or whatever. Some of them, the well-written ones, like for example, those who actually take the time to write it in a listicle form. 7 reasons, 5 reasons, why you should buy this and all that, or why you should take a particular airline to a particular place. Sometimes that can work.
That works, right? Yeah. Especially the listicles, they're shorter, they're more to the point, they're easier to comprehend.
Yes.
Digestible.
BuzzFeed types, di ba?
Right. I think you just hit an important point that the public relations practitioner must always aim to add value, not just to the client, but also to the media. And the
Yes.
media agenda, which is to tell interesting stories that have impact in people's lives. I mean, all storytelling is about change. Storytelling is about changing things for the better, whatever it is, right? So the PR person has to be always conscious of that power and that responsibility to be able to help the media agenda tell stories like that will be beneficial for the public.
Yeah.
Also, and as they tell these stories, these are also the building blocks of the reputation of their clients. Right? So, and this conversation also serves to remind that the media are such effective complementary allies in brand building and reputation building. Right? So, we are very heartened by your contribution to this conversation, our little tete-a-tete.
That's why I think more and more media now allows and recognizes the importance of branded content.
Right. Also.
Yeah, so it also adds value to us. Yeah, diba? Like a nicely, beautifully written branded content. Sometimes readers will find it hard to distinguish from what was written by our reporters or writers. I've had that Some people approach, ang ganda ng article na yun. Sino sumulat nun? Galing saan yun? Galing sa PR agency.
Si Maan Pamaral.
Yun.
Nag-plug.
Most likely.
But that's also part of the evolution of the kinds of stories that practitioners can tell. That's part of the arsenal.
Yes.
Basically, branded content.
Yes.
Right?
And if written right, like I've had an experience. It was a press release that I did, but it went viral.
Oh,
So,
di ba?
Which one was this? Which one was it? Para, people are gonna. Okay, there's going to be a link below.
It was supposed to be a press release, but they decided to make it into an article by itself. It was timely because it was about All Saints Day. The one about grief. And
Right.
loss.
Yes, that's recent.
It was supposed to be a
recent, yes.
press release.
Sa agency ba ni Mark?
I wish. But I think that's part of the. That's the kind of storytelling we brands practitioners should aspire to tell.
Yes.
I'm sure it was it connected well with the public
Yeah,
kasi. That's
it
why
did,
it became viral. And well, I guess one last note to me as a storyteller, how important is emotion in storytelling?
Oh, I think it's very important. Yung kasi like for example the one example that Maan cited, grief, di ba? So
Yeah.
it tugs at the heartstrings of the readers eh. So they find kinship and connection with it. So ganun din. It also makes the media outlet that use that story very proud. Happy to be associated with it. Yun.
That's beautiful. Kinship and connection, which is really what public relations is about.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, you guys, man. Sir Edwin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's a wrap for this episode of Breaking Down the Buzz, the PRSP YouthCon in a podcast in partnership with the Pod Network, a pioneer 12-episode series designed for students and young PR practitioners. We hope that you learned something from our discussion with our esteemed panel of very friendly experts.
Thank you.
Join us for the next episode as we continue to create online discussions for topics and touch points that matter to storytellers like us. Thank you to Maan and Sir Edwin for their contributions to this very helpful, lively discussion today on what editors look for and what it takes to get published. These learning sessions are created and organized by the Public Relations Society of the Philippines Education Committee. For further information on this podcast, find out more at prsp.ph. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to make a contribution to
Thank you,
storytelling.
PRSP.
Yeah,
Thank you, PRSP.
thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.